Welcome back. Now we'll look at where markets ended the week amid worries about high valuations and the economy. This is now the second month without a jobs report from the Labor Department. But what little other data we have gotten has shown a mixed picture. ADP reporting private sector jobs beating expectations, up for the first time since July. But another report from Challenger Gray and Christmas saw a surge in layoffs last month at the highest level for any October in 22 years. The report citing cost-cutting and artificial intelligence for all of the job cuts. Joining me now to sort through it all is the Committee to Unleash Prosperity co-founder, Steve Moore. Steve, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here this weekend.
Hi,
I want to get your take on the jobs picture and the macro story. Assess it for us. What do you think?
Listen, I'm very bullish on the U.S. economy right now. I think, look, there have been layoffs, no question about it. But don't forget, we have 6 or 7 million job openings in this country. And when I talk to employers, a lot of them are saying they're having a hard time finding the qualified workers to fill the jobs out there. Now, you're right. There have been job cuts. And this has kind of been a patch where companies are downsizing a little bit. But if you talk to people in manufacturing, construction, other areas of the economy, they're saying they're still hiring. Look, it's very simple. We have 11,000 people retiring every day, Maria, and we only have 8,000 people entering the workforce because of the demographic situation. So if anything, I think going forward, we're going to have more of a problem of a shortage of workers rather than a shortage of jobs.
So what about these companies that are laying off? I mean, you had layoffs from Amazon, you had layoffs of UPS. I mean, it's a long list of companies that are cutting jobs. Is it because of AI?
Well, look, AI and robotics are going to dramatically change our economy, and it's coming a lot faster than most people think. Maria, I'm on the board of a company called Lightspeed, and we build houses with robots. So, we can build a house with 40% less man hours, but 40% less expensive and get it done 40% faster. I mean, these kind of changes are coming dramatically for our economy. There's no question. But the one thing that's for sure is they're going to dramatically improve the productivity of the overall U.S. economy.
All right, let me move on to another major issue here, and that is the Supreme Court this week considering the legality of Trump's sweeping global tariffs. President Trump is calling the verdict a matter of life or death for our country. Here's what U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer told me this week. Watch.
The president has never purported to have unlimited authority in this area. Are there other statutes where the president can impose tariffs? Of course there are. He used IEEPA because it was absolutely the best fit for the emergency we're facing with the trade deficit and the offshoring of manufacturing. It gives the flexibility that the president needs. I mean, you're facing an emergency, so you need emergency powers.
We'll know how the Supreme Court rules within the month. Steve, what are your expectations and how important is this? How do you see it?
Yeah, well, I'm not a legal scholar, but I've talked to a lot of legal scholars whose opinions I really respect. And they think that Trump will probably lose at least some of this case. They may have an in-between position where the court may invalidate some of those tariffs and allow some of the other ones to stand. There are a lot of issues here. One is whether the president has the unilateral authority to impose tariffs and taxes. And, look, I'm an anti-tax guy, so I think that Trump may very well lose some of these. But on the other hand, Trump can make a very valid case that this is a national security issue and an emergency situation. So we'll see what the court says. On balance, I would say what we've seen over the last 9 months is every time Trump announces new tariffs, the stock market goes down. But Maria, and you've noted this many times on your show, every time we get a trade deal with a better deal for the United States, what happens to the stock market? It goes right back up. So there's a reason why we have a record high stock market today, and it's because Trump's policies are pro-business, pro-America, and pro-worker.
Yeah, absolutely. But, when I spoke with the president a couple of weeks ago, he said, look, this is so important, and if it goes against us, we're going to have to pay money back. Are we talking about the U.S. paying companies upwards of $200–300 billion?
It's going to be a lot of turmoil and a big mess if the court decides against Trump on this. As I said, I don't know where the court is going to end up. He may well lose. But the other question is whether this will take some of the negotiating power away from Trump. I mean, look at the great deals he's gotten with Europe, with Britain, with Korea, with Japan. This may take a little bit of his bargaining power away when he negotiates going forward. So we will see. I believe it's going to be one of the most impactful Supreme Court decisions in many years.
All right, we will be watching that. Let me get your take real quick before you go. What kind of a growth cut would you expect as a result of this government shutdown? I spoke with Steve Hassett on Friday, and he said that the impact on the economy is much worse than people expect. First, he said we were going to see 3% growth in the fourth quarter. Then he's saying, well, maybe it'll be half of that because of the government shutdown. What do you think the impact will be on the macro story?
This is the most outrageous government shutdown I've seen, and I've lived through a lot of these over the last 40 years. But it makes no sense. I mean, come on, just pass a continuing resolution to fund the government and solve these problems without causing havoc. You know, I'm traveling this weekend, as many people are. As you said earlier on the show, we're entering, you know, the big travel season for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Really outrageous. And by the way, I really believe, because I said that I said this on your show 6 months ago, Schumer wanted this shutdown. He wants the chaos. He wants the inconvenience. He wants the mayhem just to score political points. I think it's outrageous.
Well, do you think we're going to go into recession as a result? What kind of a growth cut are you expecting to the fourth quarter numbers?
I think it's going to cut at least 1 to 1.5 percentage points off of growth. Yeah. So, in other words, for the last 6 months, we've had 4% growth. This could lower that growth rate to less than 2% because of the economic shock from the shutdown, which my point is, it's completely needless. They could deal with this without shutting down the vital activities. And most importantly, as you know, Maria, my goodness, our troops aren't being paid. Our national security is imperiled by this.
Yeah. All right. We will leave it there. They sure are. This is a national security issue, no doubt about it. Steve, good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria.